Hey everyone, so I've played about 850 hours of Civ in the past around 2 years, and in this past winter, I finally started to get kind of bored of it. I mean, I'd had lapses before, but this was like I was really finally starting to think like I need to find a new game. I've been playing this game too much, and then someone told me about a mod called the Community Balance Patch, or the CBP, as I'll probably be referring to it um, in the future. And they didn't, or I didn't know exactly what this mod was, but I knew it changed the game heavily. So I tried it out and I downloaded it, and I played a few games, and I realized that it doesn't totally change the game. Like, it's still Civilization, but it's a whole different experience. So I'm playing as China. I'm playing as them because I like China generally. They have a good color scheme, which is very important. I liked they were just kind of like a mid-level Civ in the unmodded game. But now here, this is kind of a good example of one of the things that was changed in the Community Balance Patch. So the Community Balance Patch, as the second word, balance, would suggest, balances the game heavily. That sometimes just entails slightly weakening certain civs' powers or boosting others, but many times such as here with China, it completely changes what the civilization does. So China used to be a military civilization. They used to get plus 50% rate generation of great generals and something else. But now, as you can see here, they have plus 50% growth in cities during golden ages, and quote unquote we love the Empress Day. Great people grant golden age points and trigger 10 turns of we love the Empress Day when born. So I don't know why they decided to change China. It might have just been because there were so many in the vanilla unmodded Civ. There are so many military focused Civs, so the makers of this mod might have just decided that it would be more fun to not have so many be military. As you can also see, they retained the Chuko Nu. I don't know if they changed it that much. They might have changed the attack by a couple points or something. And then they replaced the paper maker with the Tea Pavilion. And I've actually not played as China before, so I don't know. I have not used the Tea Pavilion, but as you can see, science plus 25% per person. Or here we can see down at the bottom, plus 10% culture in the city, plus 1% science, plus 1 science for each 4 citizens in the city, plus 33% great musician rate in the city, and all musicians guilds produce plus 1 gold. Requires an amphitheater in the city. Okay, so the paper maker, I believe, replaced the library, but now this is a completely new upgrade. So with that introduction, let us begin this game. Begin your journey. I think the most important thing perhaps to mention for first-time players, and I did not know this unfortunately, is that difficulty is just basically entirely changed. I basically got to the point where I could, with decent ease, play in like a free-for-all game of 6 or 8 immortal CPUs and do pretty well. Win 100% of the time if I was going for diplomatic, maybe 75% of the time if I was going for any of the other victories. But in this game, my friend and I, when I first downloaded this, we tried playing, we figured, we'd go a little easy, not do Immortal the first game, so we tried Emperor, and we got destroyed within the first 50 turns. So we reduced it down to King, we got destroyed within the first 100 turns. And what we realized is that the game is now a lot harder. Another thing this mod has done is completely changed the difficulty. So now Prince, I'd equate Prince in this mod about at the difficulty of Emperor in Vanilla Civ. Like, I can always beat the Prince in the CBP when I play against them, but they tend to be ahead of me in points and other values for maybe the first 50% of the game or something. And it says, when you're creating a game, it's with all the different difficulties, it says that Prince gets large bonuses, kind of in the same way that Emperor and Immortal CPUs do in the vanilla game. But now, all the way back to Prince, whereas Prince, I think, was the neutral one in the vanilla game. Now they already, at level 4, get bonuses from the CPU. I mean, from the game. So that's the difficulty change. You can also see the UI has changed a lot. And this is a mod that you can use. You don't need the CBP for, so you may have seen this before. It moves trade routes, tourism, and also eventually resources will show up here, strategic resources. It moves that to the right. It kind of separates out these things a little more. On the bottom left here, you can see this little rectangle, and this is all of your units. And say we had 3 warriors, this number would say 3 instead of 1. And then here is also all our units, but this is individual instead of kind of stacks. And this will eventually get so big later in the game that you have to scroll through it. And then up here, as we're here, I'm going to found a city. So we have Beijing here. As you can see here, it says Beijing. So this is, I mean, it's not a list right now, but this is a list of all the cities you have, kind of more easily available. Top right, we have a kind of new diplomatic list situation, whereas you used to click a button up here and you get to the diplomacy screen where you'd have all the different civs and city-states kind of available for you. Now this is a World Congress button, and this stuff is all just kind of readily available. You don't have to click on a menu. So let's do production. You can also see the UI down here is slightly changed. Purchases more immediately available. And another thing is that, oh, here, I'm going to do monument. I always start with monument. You can just click now on different things to add them to the queue. You don't have to enable or disable queues. Okay, so this brings us to another point. So there are also new luxury resources. This is tobacco, you can see. Tobacco requires calendar, assumably to make a plantation. Various other things below it: corporations, trader SIDS Inc. +2, gold, chemistry, grocer +3, and then down here we have perfume. Similarly, if we build a masonry and make an arena, we'll get +2 culture from the perfume. So we finished agriculture. So now this is another thing as well. So shrines are you always you start out with the ability to make shrines. So let's choose a research. So I think I'm going to do what I would normally do is try to go to calendar. Okay, I click on calendar. But a different thing about this mod is that individual technologies reveal their resources on the map in the early game. So in the early game, cattle, horses, sheep, all are not revealed on the map in the same way that coal, for example, was in the vanilla game until you researched industrialization. So now, it's not that we don't necessarily have sheep or cows around here, it's that we can't see them. So I want to build I want to do animal husbandry to reveal the horses. And there are other things like this. Fishing reveals fish, you can't see fish before that. Trapping reveals deer, mining reveals stone, etc., etc. So I want to start out with animal husbandry, since getting animals is always an incredibly useful thing early game. And that's just one of the many changes that have been made to the science. We'll see after we finish animal husbandry what some other changes that have been made are. For now, I just want to explore. Actually, I don't remember what I got from that ancient ruins. Whoops. Well, okay. So one of the things with the UI up here, it doesn't actually show you how much total culture you've amassed. It just says how much you're getting per turn, which is the +1, and then how many turns it'll be until you get a new policy, which is +3. Same for science. Same for faith. Once I actually start making faith. Same for happiness until Golden Age, and money's just the same. So let's keep exploring with this guy. Set him up here. This is continents, so I anticipate probably having to get a scout at some point, but I always like to go shrine before scout, just because I think religion is very important. If any reason, just so I can say I got the extra 100 points, so I can feel like I'm better than the other people. So let's see what we get from this ruin. I find a nomadic tribe that wishes to join my civilization. Grants you an additional land around the nearest city. So I've actually never gotten this before, but this is another one of the changes that have been made, is new bonuses from ancient ruins. And you can see, I think we were probably just at the original 6 tiles before I got that, but I don't know, we might have expanded here. But we now have 3 extra tiles, which is, I mean, that particular bonus is not terribly helpful, but it's pretty good. Alright, I'm gonna go shrine, just because I like shrine. Oh, okay. Dido. Yeah. Alright, you're doing fine. There's some diplomatic changes as well, but let's see if they change Sarah to Potosi at all. We actually don't know because we haven't discovered it yet. Oh no, here. So Sarah to Potosi used to get you 10 gold, but now it gets you 6 gold and 3 production. And you could also see how that can be improved by Goddess of Nature, which is a pantheon. You get +2 culture and +3 faith. Okay, so let's move on. So it's a lot easier to kind of see the various ways you can improve things. So she's probably already got the ancient ruins up here, so I want to go kind of back down towards my own territory. And in 6 turns we're going to get a policy, and we will learn some new things then. The borders of Beijing have grown, so this is another part of the UI mod. It tells you it tells you that they have grown and where they've grown every time. It's not that important, but it's just kind of nice to have that little pop-up. Okay, so let's go back to the science screen. And what I didn't explain last time was that, so the tech tree has been changed quite a bit. I don't remember exactly what I think it's animal husbandry, pottery, mining, and fishing is the 4th one up here. I honestly don't remember. I should, because I played 850 hours of Civ, but I don't. But now you can see these 6 starting things: mining, pottery, the wheel, animal husbandry, and trapping, all of which existed. But when we get to the next row, we have some new ones. There's military theory, which gets you horseman, war elephant, that gets you the barracks, whereas bronze working got you barracks in the vanilla game. Temple of Artemis. Oh, archery is the one that's gone from here. Archery used to be the fourth starting tech. There's also trade, which gets you the Petra instead of late classical era, late ancient era, which I think is good, just because in the vanilla game it was always so easy to go for make or break on Petra, and then if you didn't get it, you'd be totally destroyed because you kind of crafted your whole civilization around the promise of getting Petra. Anyway, so that's trade. Calendar, construction, and bronze working are the same mostly. Calendar reveals bananas. I don't know how you wouldn't notice bananas before you got calendar, but whatever. All these are also the same, but they get you some new things, which we will probably see eventually. Did that reveal any animals? That did not reveal any animals. Okay, so what I want to do now is, I think we should go pottery. That will get us a granary. So it seems like a good way to start, a good place to start. And what I've noticed about this mod, I'm not entirely sure why, but you tend to get more gold. Like you can see right now I'm making 5 gold per turn. That's definitely not something that would have been the norm for a vanilla Civ start. I mean, this is a fine start, but this is not a particularly good start. Also, you can see the slight change in UI with being able to buy tiles just immediately like this. Okay, so here we have our the next segment, which is policies. Click on this, and you can immediately see that it's totally different. We have tradition, fine, tradition's normal, progress instead of liberty, and authority. So what are these things? Well, tradition, +3 culture, and +2 food in the capital from adopting it, and +5% growth in all cities. The +3 culture was used to get, but +2 food and +5% growth in all cities, that's a new. And then we have the each tradition policy unlocked grants, +4% growth in all cities. So each time you unlock a policy, you get a bigger bonus, completely regardless of that specific policy's bonus. Each time we unlock one of these things, we'll get +4 growth. And progress, it's not just liberty. First of all, you don't get a free settler from progress, you only get a free worker. A worker appears near the capital. Liberty's now just this one tenant. Progress gives you just kind of general growth and production bonuses, as you can see. And authority is it's a kind of combination of liberty and honor from the vanilla game. Authority is what allows you to get a free settler. A free settler appears in the capital. This is a kind of harken back to the honor. Killing military unit generates science, and there's honor. Units gain +10 strength. So this is kind of like a 3-way division instead of a 2-way division. Whereas it used to be tradition and liberty. One was for tight, tall, 3 or 4 city games. Now tradition is still kind of for that, but progress is for non-aggressive expansion, non-violent expansion, but more halfway between tall and wide. And then authority is definitely a wide, many cities, founding cities as soon as you can, overtaking other people's cities, kind of engaging in wars, that kind of stuff. So it's all on a spectrum. We are China. I don't want to get too much into military in this game. it takes a lot of time, and it's not, military has not changed like that much. So I think I'm just going to do progress. We'll see how it's different from the old Liberty. And let's see what city-state this is. Alright, this is Colombo. This guy still needs to be moved. Let's send him down here. I don't know where I am in the world, so I gotta just keep looking around a little bit. Keep moving. As you can tell, this is still like, this is still Civ, but they've changed the kind of, they've made adjustments to the each individual mechanics, like culture, science, or whatnot. It kind of makes different things more fair. It gives each thing, it gives each decision you make kind of a more equal balance, I guess. I don't want to deal with these barbarians right now. Let's go ahead. Next turn.
Shall the clay say to him that fashioneth it?
Yeah. So I want to get to 2 more things in this game. In this video particularly, I want to get to new buildings and new units. It's not, neither of those are like particularly big, but so let's just click on calendar. Let's get to calendar. Right now, we've made a. I guess I'll probably also I'll finish off when we get to pantheons. That's kind of a good way to sum up this first tutorial. I want to make a scout because this is continent. This is a continent. Okay, so progress. The 2 options are plus 15% production towards buildings, tile improvement, construction rate increased by 25%. So that's very good. Cities earn plus 10 food and culture when they construct buildings. Bonuses scale with era. That's like less like obviously good immediately, but it still seems pretty good. I mean, I don't think that matters as much quite early game because we're not going to be churning out cities. I mean, we're not going to be churning out buildings that much, but it's definitely still good. Another thing that this whole cultural policies change has done is that it's made each individual policy very good. It's not like in the old tradition where you had to get through a certain specific bad tenant or a couple bad tenants or whatever in order to get to good ones, or Liberty where like a lot of the tenants were kind of okay, but they were not like what you kind of would have liked to have something better. I think the best example is actually Commerce from the vanilla game. Had like 2 good tenants and 3 basically meaningless ones, but that just does not exist anymore. All of the tenants all accomplish something. So I think for now we're going to do plus 15 production towards buildings, tile improvement rate constructed by 25%. Seem to have kind of reached the end, but luckily another ruin. I actually don't know what this council is. I think so. When I played the games that I played with this have been with the edition of this mod that came out the 23rd of January 2016. But they just released a new version on the 9th of March, and I think this council thing is new. I think this whole 66% capture chance is a new thing. So I'm gonna have to look into that perhaps for the next video. This guy, what did I get? Boost the production of your nearest city. So that's a new bonus as well. I don't know how much it boosted the production by, but clearly enough that the scout's now 48 out of 45, so it is finished producing. Let's go back up here. There's a lot of perfume around here. I tend to not like perfume that much since it doesn't have any production. Okay, so this guy, so I actually got a scout, so I'm going to send this guy. I might just camp out with my Axeman to protect my city. So what is this council? Gain 15 science when completed. How strange. It also gets you +1 science. That's weird. I think for now I'm just gonna go granary. Might do the council after that. Seems like a good building. But yeah, the main point is that they have added a number of new buildings. Not as much as certain. There are some kind of standalone mods that add like huge numbers of buildings. They didn't add that many, at least not terribly many like in the early game. Oh boy, Asser. Not today, buddy, but thank you. Go this way. So it's not like an overload of new buildings until kind of the later era. There are a lot of new wonders actually in the later era, but we're not going to see about that right now, of course. But there are just a couple. We'll unlock the first one, the herbalist, as soon as we finish calendar. We can look into that. So, I guess I can send you over here just to explore a little more. Here's Mombasa. Another thing I know they've done, although it's less tangible, is they have changed the kind of start biases and general map creation a bit. I don't know to what extent, but I know they have. I don't think it's possible to get the same just incredibly bad starts that you used to be able to in the vanilla game, which is good because it's really frustrating to have to restart a million times. I've also just generally found that maps just have fewer kind of expanses of useless space. This is just another brief thing. So unit upgrades have totally changed. We'll probably see that later if we do any military things. Plus 5%. So survivalism is the same, but here Trailblazer want double movement through jungles and forests. That's a new one. We'll see more about upgrades later. I don't know where Acer actually is. Right. So let's build this council. An extra science is always nice early game. I've never built it before, so I don't know exactly how it will impact our experience, but we'll see. So just discover that city-state there. Move on.
So teach us to number our days, so that we may apply our
Yeah. Okay, is this guy gonna die? Okay, so here's another difference in the upgrades. Drill, plus 20% combat strength versus cities. Flank attack bonus increased by 25%. And shock, plus 10% combat strength, plus 15% combat strength versus fortified units. So there's no longer the rough terrain versus flat terrain division. Now it's versus cities and flank versus neutral attack boost and against fortified units. So I think I'm just going to do this. Goes along with... now I'm going to die because I thought I was going to kill that guy and I didn't. Zanzibar has glass, which I think is a city-state. It's kind of like porcelain or jewelry. It's a unique city-state luxury, and also coral. Then I'm going to do worker appears near the capital, +1 movement for all civilian units. So the +1 movement for all civilian units is, I don't really know exactly how good that is, but a free worker is nice. Gives us exactly what we want. I'm just going to make a farm first. Oh my god, this guy's still alive. I can't believe it. Okay. How can I ensure that he survives? Oh no. God damn it. I didn't know there was another... I forgot the camp was there. I stupidly thought that Oh, I'm still alive! Oh my god, I can't believe it. The two things I want to talk about when I make a second video are happiness and city-states. Those two things have changed immensely, but it's a little bit too complicated to get into right now. Keep moving. And now... Okay, so here are two of the new buildings, another two buildings we could make. Herbalist, +1 food from nearby forest and jungle, also generally +2 food. But -2 maintenance is pretty expensive for an early game building. And then the well is something you get in cities that aren't next to rivers, or maybe not next to fresh water, but I am next to fresh water here, so that's weird. Oh no, I'm not. Sorry, I thought I was. Never mind. So yeah, so I don't have access to fresh water, so I can make the well, which compensates for the lack of a water mill, or pretty much does the same thing, I think. Let's start off by making the well. So I want to get our food boosted. Since we're going Progess, I don't think that does too much with our food, except for this tenant here. And I guess this one. But it doesn't do that much. Okay, trapping done. I think with the map creation, they've also made, at least with continents, because I played on continents a couple times. Alright, I got another piece of this lake, yeah. Continents tend to be slightly smaller, from my experience. I don't know exactly why, or to what extent they're smaller, but I've just noticed that they're not quite as expansive as they used to be. Alright, so this is, as I promised, the Pantheon. So, if you take a look on the left here, if you are an experienced Civ player, you will see pretty much everything is different. So Pantheons, just like everything else in this game, have been balanced. They're pretty much all very good. There's some that I kind of favor more than others. God of the Sun, I really like. +2 food from Ganaries. Let's look around a little more. I just want to briefly remind myself. +1 faith and food from oases, lakes, and marshes. I really like this one, especially because right now we're next to a lake. This will give us +1 faith and food on each lake tile, and if we had oases or marshes as well. +1 happiness from cities on rivers. Unfortunately, we're not in a river, and there aren't that many rivers around here. There's one up there. Every start is kind of taken account for in this, and is helped a lot by a pantheon. So desert, tundra, you name it. Next to a lot of water, you can get a benefit from a pantheon no matter what. So let's think about what we want to get for a pantheon. We have a lot of plantations. We know that. I'm not seeing anything that helps plantations. That might just be because plantations are good tiles already. So yeah, let's do Goddess of Purity. That'll help us get a profit faster, because as you can see here, profits now require 600 faith for my next chance at a great profit. Seriously? What? Last time I played this, it was 400. They must have changed that. But so even more now. You can see how absurd that is then. How they have literally doubled the amount of faith you need to get a profit. And they've also made it slightly easier to get faith, as you can see from the pantheon that I just adopted. But that's still pretty absurd. So that, I think, pretty much wraps it up for this video. I hope I succeeded in covering a lot of the basics, hopefully quickly, so I didn't spend too much time dealing with each particular one. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Comments, generally, suggestions for the next video, things you don't understand, I'll always be happy to help. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you come to enjoy the community balance patch as much as I do. And I will see you guys next episode.